Pyun!
Spotlight Pyun. God bless.
A puny spotlight?
Oh.
Well, we're here for a special episode of Best of the Worsts. It was going to be a spotlight, and then we said, hey, let's just watch another one.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the films of director Albert Pyun. He made movies at all different budget levels, everything from low-budget post-apocalypse movies to mid-budget post-apocalypse movies. Yeah, well, we're talking about him. We should set it up a little bit. We don't want to be too much of a downer here, but an article came out. His wife was posting on Facebook that he's seen better days, and he's very open and welcoming to getting positive comments about his films. It's cheering him up in these dark times.
We were talking about we've only done Captain America, which is kind of a shocker to me. I thought we'd done more, but
and that was like 1,000 years ago.
It was a time, but it was with this lineup, as
oddly
we
enough,
discovered,
the same
completely
lineup.
by chance. But he really was somebody that sits in that pantheon of people that are the great workhorses.
He's a B-movie legend.
Yeah.
Well, we watched Cyborg, which is pretty typical Albert Pyun, post-apocalyptic cyborg movie. He's made several of those. And then we said, hey, for contrast, let's watch a very different one. So we watched Arcade as well.
It's got a lot of names in it, which was strange and shocking.
Names in it?
Actor.
Names. Yes, I understand. Like, most of the characters have names, Rich. Unlike Cyborg, which I only discovered upon looking at the back of this right now, that our hero, the Van Damme, is named Gibson Rickenbacker.
That is absolutely not in the movie.
Not at all. Not the first name nor the last name.
They call him Gibson.
Do they?
They do, and I feel like they just, when they were writing the credits, they just, last name? It's Rickenbacker.
Put another guitar in there. I don't fucking care.
As a joke, before we started shooting, we were throwing out several silly names. We were saying silly names that we thought his character name was. Nothing is sillier than Gibson Rickenbacker.
I don't want to see you die.
So we'll start with Cyborg, I guess. That was the first of our double feature tonight.
Yeah.
Jack.
Oh, good.
I guess we're doing this
Sure.
format.
I don't
know.
Why not?
We'll just wander around. It's okay.
Sure, just like the movie.
Yeah.
So like the basic plot is there is a cyborg who has been in the danger zone of America because right now there's a deadly virus going on. And
Yeah, there's a plague. Not that that really plays much into the movie, but there is one.
It's the catalyst. The whole movie is, here's the premise, and then kicking happens. It's the most basic of plots.
We see, what, one person that has the plague in the entire film?
Oh, right, there's a plague.
Well, apparently you can be in the same room with the plague people, and it's not a big deal, I guess.
I mean, I was living in a house with somebody who had COVID for 2 weeks, Jack.
And that plague doesn't necessarily seem to affect anyone else at any other given time. But the cyborg's tasked with the mission of going out into the danger zone to gather data on the virus to come up with a cure.
I'm a cyborg.
Oh my God!
Hey, look at
They
that.
created me to retrieve data from a computer system here in the city.
Look at that, that looks great!
Yeah!
Oh, she turned into the moon.
So the cyborg lady gets kidnapped by very large man.
Who I thought should have, I kept looking at him and I was like, this guy's got to be somebody, right?
Yeah.
But he's a handful of credits, but that was it.
He grunts like a motherfucker.
He plays Grunt Man.
Oof.
Gruntman is like the king of the pirates.
Yeah.
According to the back of the Blu-ray, they are cannibalistic flesh pirates.
Not that they ate anything in the entire movie.
It sounds hardcore, which is enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what a flesh pirate does. Just, oh, that sounds badass.
Almost as badass as Gibson Rickenbacker.
I mean, they could just steal hamburgers, but still, flesh pirate sounds badass.
Does that make the Hamburglar a flesh pirate?
The Hamburger is the ultimate flesh pirate.
Oh, yeah.
The Hamburglar. That was the first name that they pitched out, like Ronald McDonald and the Flesh Pirate. And the Hickey. That's Grimace.
Yeah.
He's a hickey.
No, Grimace was, they pitched him as butt plug.
So in any case.
What is a Grimace?
They figured it out.
I want to know, what is a Grimace?
There is a story, but I don't remember what it is. But there is an explanation of what he's supposed to be.
You'll have to look it up later, but he is something.
Yeah.
Wait.
There was thought put into what Grimace was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Is he a McNugget?
No.
No.
They didn't have McNuggets then.
Oh, shit. What? I just want to say how disappointed I am that both of you were like, ooh, the Grimace. And neither of you know the story.
I just know that I did learn at one point that what he was supposed to be, but it clearly wasn't important enough for me to retain the information.
Because for many years I didn't think there was this information. And then we found out that it exists.
Yeah.
But it's not important enough to keep in my head. I have phone numbers and shit in here, Jack.
You don't need that.
I do.
Wow, this is like a revelation. This is like a piece of trivia that can literally keep you entertained for eternity because you hear it and you're like, oh, and then you forget.
Yeah. And then you relearn it.
Van Damme, Rickenbacker. What's his
Gibson Rickenbacker.
Gibson Rickenbacker.
So Cyborg Lady is about to be kidnapped by Gruntman. Mm-hmm. But good news, Gibson Rickenbacker is there to save the day, only she still gets kidnapped.
And he gets covered in a pile of debris for a while.
Why do they need to get to Atlanta? Because
we're
glazing over the MacGuffin is she has the cure for the plague in her brain.
And she's taking it from New York to Atlanta.
And if she gets she gets the cure, and then this will stop the world from being a miserable apocalyptic hellhole. Right. And our villain does not want that because he wants the world to remain a hellhole.
Yes. Gruntman's idea is that he will control the plague cure and thus be a god in this chaos world.
He will rule the world with his grunts.
Yes.
Asshole! I hate the water!
What?
I got a niceness here.
Sounds like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So is this the bad guy?
Actually, Jay, this is our hero.
Oh.
Your shocking twist.
Hoist your mates!
And that's pretty much it. And then Van Damme teams up with Lady.
Yeah, Gibson Rickenbacker finds a lady that was left behind from all the people that got killed so that they could take the boat.
Yeah.
And she won't leave him alone. And they take a lot of shortcuts and are consistently beating Gruntman to wherever they're going.
All I see is water.
How did they get there before the fucking boat?
Took a shortcut.
Why didn't he take the shortcut?
Because he wanted a boat.
And he hates water.
I hate the water!
Wait a minute.
Coincidentally, Gibson Rickenbacker is on a quest to kill Gruntman.
Yes, they have a past.
It's structured really weird where we get these flashbacks to Van Damme. He didn't have a wife or a family.
I'm sorry, there's no Van Damme in this movie.
Gibson
Rickenbacker.
I'm never going to remember that name, just like I'm never going to remember what Grimace
Jay,
is.
how can you forget Gibson Rickenbacker?
I'm just going to call him Kick Puncher.
That'll work.
You can call him whatever you want, but this is what I'm stuck on. Orville Redenbacher. But yeah, no, he didn't have a wife, he didn't have a family, but he is a, what do they call him?
It doesn't mention
Slinger?
A slinger! Slinger! We can retain information.
And now we know why they changed the name of the movie.
The original title of the film was supposed to be Slinger, and then Golan and Globus were like, come on.
Billy
Call it
Bob
fucking
Thornton is already
Cyborg.
working on a sling blade thing. We can't compete with that.
But he's a slinger, which is, I guess he just takes people from one place to another.
Like, yeah, just trying to get people out of danger.
Let's be honest, a slinger is basically a strider. It's just like a cool badass who will do cool badass things for you in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, for food camps.
For food, well.
So he's doing that for this family, and we just get like they just kind of drop the flashbacks in throughout the movie. So
Which they don't need to do, because the minute they introduce the family, we know what happens.
We knew immediately. It is effective later on though, when he's strung up like Jesus, and we're doing some quick cutting, and the editing's really good in that part.
Captain Grunt forces the little girl to lower Van Damme and his family with
She's got to hold on to barbed wire.
Yeah.
That was a cool sequence.
Well, that's what it culminates with when the Grunt Man captures Van Damme and has him up on the cross like Jesus. And yeah, we're quick cutting back and forth between those flashbacks and him trying to get off the cross.
He's kicking that cross hard.
Yeah. And that was all working dramatically despite Van Damme.
Right.
Because he didn't have any lines. All he had to do in that part was just go, ah! Which is when he is the most effective.
The movie's at its best when everyone's just grunting.
Yes.
I was waiting for that wide shot.
Right? We're giving Mr. Rickenbacker a lot of emotional depth at that point, actually. And I think really does work.
The wig is giving him the most emotional depth.
Like I said, that's pretty much it. It's an excuse. It's the thinnest of plots, the thinnest of motivations. It's an excuse to get from one legitimately cool location to the next to have people kick each other.
Oh, edge weapon!
Kick!
Oh!
Damn!
I don't know how that fits with his foot in there, but whatever. It was, the backstory is Albert Pyun was working with Canon. He did the Captain America movie, and he was supposed to do a Spider-Man movie and Masters of the Universe 2.
What?
And then
Masters
at that
of the Universe
point,
2 I get, but Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, yeah. Wow. At one point, Toby Hooper was going to do it for Canon because he had a relationship with him.
James Cameron was going to do that.
There was a James Cameron one. I don't know if that was before or after the Canon period. But what happened is Canon lost the rights, so that's why they never made it. But they were going to do Masters of the Universe 2, so they started having like sets built and costumes ready to go, and then that fell apart because they were running out of money. So they said, hey, Albert Pyun, instead of doing that, do you want to make this Cyborg movie? So they repurposed a lot of sets and costume stuff from what was going to be Masters of the Universe 2,
and that makes
they worked it into Cyborg.
That makes sense to a certain point where you see like the chainmail.
Gruntman's costume was going to be part of Skeletor's.
It looks like it. It looks like it.
Yeah.
Not a good version of it, but it does look like it.
That's beautiful.
But they've got these great blown out buildings, like very good post-apocalyptic stuff. Like a couple of different.
Right from the opening.
And will end the plague and restore the world.
Nice. Look at that matte painting.
They even had a little cockroach.
There's a couple of really good matte paintings going on in there. Like right at the beginning, didn't they have? There was
one. There's the opening shot where you see like the bridge, and then there's only like two, and that's the thing is like there's long stretches of this movie where it's characters wandering around and then kicking each other.
Yeah.
But for budget reasons, you can't do a lot with the special effects, so you sprinkle them a little bit throughout. You have a nice matte painting in the opening. You have one when they get to the city at the end, Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then the same with the Cyborg. We get that awesome, she pulls off her wig and she's a stop motion robot for just a couple shots.
With a completely different face.
With her face completely changes, but that's fine.
Horrible, horrible face.
It looks terrifying, but it should because it's a weird cyborg robot thing and it works perfectly.
It's still a really cool effect.
Oh, yeah. It looks good, yeah. And that's the thing is like you can't do a lot of that, but you sprinkle it throughout.
Oh my God.
She has resting derp face.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Genuinely creepy stuff. What I liked is even some of the kind of like the found locations, not like the sets. Like you said, that blown out building where we get a really neat kick fight. because they're all kick fights.
Oh, yeah.
The marsh that ended up with like the upturned ships where he was crucified.
Yeah, how about that?
That was a found set. Like they didn't build an overturned ship. It's like, oh, but like also really beautiful camera work and like just a really neat, although slightly dumb chase sequence because everyone was running. It was a little cartoonish, but
it's like a clown car kind of effect. Yeah.
We are reaching comic beats of like everyone one by one coming out. Yep, all right.
Lots of slow motion, and I don't know if that was an attempt I don't know if that was influenced by like John Woo or Hong Kong stuff, or if it was just to pad the running time.
There was some slow motion that was little too much slow motion, just like
little column A, little column B.
There's that one shot where Gruntman's like, "Come on!" He's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna get there, I swear."
Yeah, early on when I don't know if it's Cyborg Lady at the very beginning, someone's being chased down the street, and every time we cut to the people chasing them, it looks like it's the same shot.
Spot.
So it looks like they morphed into a different person, but every time it cuts to them, they're running in slow motion. So it's like, oh, she's got nothing to worry about. They're so slow.
They're way back there. Yeah, her and her weird the protector guy that's supposed to get her to New York and back, and immediately it is beheaded.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah!
Oh, that's awesome! Yes!
Oh, that was a good dummy.
Right onto the lens, but not covering the whole
Yeah,
lens.
that was great.
Oh, we've been doing this show for a decade now, and that is the best dummy.
Not right up there.
Not like the funny ha-ha we're laughing at it dummy. That is legitimately a great dummy. It's when it bangs against like one of the floors on its way down. That's what really works.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, I also think that's shot composition too, because like we have this tight space, like an old elevator shaft that it's going down, and so like it doesn't have the room to flop around like a big fake dummy, right?
Sure.
And it's only going down like one or like 2 or 3 floors, and so it doesn't have too long to look fake. It's just a smack, smack.
Yeah, it's a quick shot.
It's a really good use of a dummy.
Yeah.
It's legitimately the best dummy I have seen on this show.
Yes! I told you they'd be splits.
How about just kills them all like that, one by one?
Just stays in the same spot.
Nobody looks on. Why?
But that whole scene, the underground, it's not really a sewer or whatever that is.
Like an aqueduct or something. Like it's it's wet.
But that was cool because it was so like moody. The lighting was so like dramatic and stark, and that's when I think of Albert Pyun, like even Arcade, like a lot of the stuff in that has that kind of moody, noirish lighting. Because everything up till then was mostly just outdoors during the day, just kind of like stark, normal, even lighting.
And that's something that Albert Pyun did wonderfully in this movie when he had the chance to, when he wasn't outside, when it was just blasting.
Yeah, both these movies, you have shafts of light, like really like stark, long shafts of light.
Yeah, just really making use of what you have.
Yeah, well, skipping ahead to arcade, like the arcade, they clearly didn't have a lot of actual arcade games in the arcade.
No,
so just light
like
it super moody and dark.
Smoky.
Lots of backlighting, lots of smoke.
Put a lot of people in there.
Well, you fill it with people so you can't see that there's no machines behind
it. There's a Simpsons pinball and there's the arcade machine, and I don't know, that's about it.
That is kind of funny that one of the games they have is a Simpsons pinball machine.
That was the one that stuck out the most.
It's so, yeah, it sticks out.
Well, that entire last, the final confrontation is all, dark rain in a weird like puddle alley street.
Oh, the whole end with the rain in in Atlanta where they're in that like bog that has cars in it.
Yes.
It's just been overrun with rain. It's just
Nature is taken over.
Yeah, that was my favorite set in the movie. It was all the Atlanta stuff. It was so cool looking.
I agree.
Everything's overgrown. Like the plants and stuff are growing everywhere.
Yeah, the matte painting with the smoke in the corner. Just give it a little motion. Looks very nice.
Oh, you missed.
I meant to.
Did he even shoot anything?
Arrow.
Yeah.
No, but on his close-up, there was nothing in there. He just did this.
The greatest 18 minutes of the movie is that final fight sequence in which our
two men who can't act grunt at each other.
And then the grunts slowly morph into full screams. Oh.
So much grunting.
Oh, it stopped for a moment. Hold on. Wait.
Fucker!
Oh, I got stabbed.
Why are you, like the face?
Look, I don't give a Van Damme about his character. he kicks the people, and that's what I want. I want to get to when he kicks the people.
That's when the movie's at its best. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not like a hard target where he uses a fucking gun. He's Van Damme. He kicks people.
Yeah. And that's why this movie wraps up so satisfyingly, because there's no weapon at the end when it's Gruntman versus Gibson Rickenbacker. There aren't any weapons anymore. It's just kicking and grunting and kicking and grunting.
So much grunting.
No shirt either.
No shirt.
Get that shirt out of here.
Fucking Gruntman takes his chainmail off. Why? Why?
So they can fight bare-chested.
In the rain.
As God intended.
You know what? That chainmail probably would have saved him from the hook that kills him, but whatever. Oh well, he had to take it off.
He's just not the man that Gibson Rickenbacker is. Because the real lesson is, at the end of the day, the cyborg with the cure for the virus that's plaguing humanity is not what's going to save the world. It's Gibson Rickenbacker.
It's strange, but I feel he's the real cure for this world.
Oh, fuck off! This is the dumbest thing anyone has said.
I'm good on the goal now.
Maybe the real cyborg was the friends we made along the way.
Here's the thing.
Where you want to go?
We love movies, and I love this kind of low-budget action schlock. This is exactly the kind of movies that made me fall in love with movies, where you just...
Oh, yeah.
If it says something in the post-apocalypse where everyone's wearing like dirty old football shoulder pads, I'm in.
This is the kind of movie we spent our formative years watching on basic cable.
Yeah.
Every dollar was on screen.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is we should point out we've watched so many, on Best of the Worst, lower budget versions of this movie that are not shot well, not interesting. I mean, not that this has great acting from really anybody, but just like visually, going back to Albert Pyun.
It's got flair.
Yeah, the scene where they get out of the sewer and they're fighting in the water, and then when they get out of the water, they're fighting on the sand next to the water, and yeah, we get all these like nice Dutch angles, wide angles.
Where a lot of movies would just like sit back and shoot flat and like get all the action in, but like not really have any sort of style to it.
Yeah, I think of like mentioning Deadly Prey, like all the action scenes in that, or it's just someone runs into frame, throws a spear.
Yeah, no, and like the other thing, especially like we watched a little bit for Arcade. I know we're not talking about Arcade yet, but we watched a little bit of Arcade behind the scenes, and we get to see Pyun talking about the filmmaking process. And in both movies and in Captain America, it's also very clear that he was just someone who had a ton of fun making these. It's like, what would be cool here? Fucking let's have you kick someone. All right.
And very clearly adaptable to budgets. Because there's a major budget difference between Cyborg and Arcade.
Yes.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Yes.
We're going to get to that.
A major budget difference, but not a loss of a sense of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredibly important.
And then we're not going to talk about Alien from LA, but I've seen that as well. And still, yeah, like there's definitely like lots of stuff going on.
What is that? it look like?
It could be like a flat, dumb, just like kick, 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 move on. But it's a lot more than that. A lot more goes on. Not a lot more, but okay.
Gibson
Enough more goes on.
Not in the script so much, but in the shooting of the movie, there's a lot. It's very fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome! Yes!
Oh, that was a good demi.
So after watching Cyborg, we said, hey, it's still kind of early. Let's do another one.
Yeah, just for contrast.
Arcade, it's a full moon movie, so we know it's going to be less than 80 minutes long.
No, it wasn't.
I believe you said 85.
We were reading the back of the box of these movies.
85.
And this one, you know, it sounded like it had some interesting ideas, but it's also a full moon movie.
Don't look at the front of the script.
Yeah! Oh, I love that guy. Whoops.
This is kind of exciting. This is the first, I think, the first full moon movie we've ever done.
No shit.
I think, well, we did The Killer Eye, but that was that was forever ago. But that was also post Paramount era full moon. For a long time in the 90s, Full Moon, run by Charles Band, who was in charge of Empire and did like Robot Jocks and Ghoulies and stuff. But he had a deal for a line of direct-to-video movies in the 90s where Paramount would distribute his films. So he made Full Moon Pictures and did movies like Puppet Master and
Puppet Master 2
and Puppet Master 3.
Don't forget about
Puppet Master 4 and Puppet Master Origins.
Are they on 9 now?
I think they're on like 10 or 11 or maybe more.
I loved Puppet Master. The little guy with the hook in the head.
Yeah. The other guy from The Room.
Yeah, Greg Sestro's in Puppet Master, Retro Puppet Master. It's called.
Yeah.
He plays the young Puppet Master.
And that was before The Room.
That was before The Room, yeah.
Really?
Let's not forget Dollman.
Dollman.
Directed
that's what I'm thinking
by
of.
Albert Pyun.
No shit!
Yeah.
No shit!
You should know because half the movie takes place in a bunch of rubble. Albert Pyun loves filming in rubble.
Dollman 2, Dollman 3, Dollman versus Puppet Master.
There's
Dollman versus Demonic Toys.
There's
Demonic Toys.
There's only 2 Dollman movies. There's Dollman and Dollman versus Demonic Toys, and that's it.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a regular just Dollman 2. No?
No. There should have been. It's a great concept that the movie didn't quite live up to because they filmed the whole thing in a bunch of rubble.
On the planet Arcturus, he's the toughest cop around. On the planet Earth, he's 13 inches tall.
But around that same era that he made Dollman, Albert Pyun made Arcade, and a lot of notable people involved with this movie, both in front of and behind the camera.
John Delancey.
Yeah, this is packed with stars, Rich.
Oh,
wow.
Alan Howarth was a collaborator with John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Oh.
He did a lot of scores with John Carpenter.
Oh, we're all being entertained by different names. That's very interesting.
This cast is packed. Well, yeah, the crew's packed too, but yeah, the cast is Megan Ward, who we have covered previously in something.
We talked about Freaked. She's in Freaked.
Oh yeah, she's in Freaked. Peter Billingsley, Ralphie from A Christmas Story, if you've ever heard of that movie. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. That's a pretty obscure one.
If you've ever wanted to see a teenage Ralphie, which is weird.
Yeah, if you want to see Ralphie take an office drone by the tie and threaten him, this is the movie for you.
Different's not out here in 1 minute. I'm calling the news and informing them that your fucking game is whispering in our ears and telling us to commit suicide.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, his intro to the movie was weird because he's in like a single shot by himself and the color temperature is different than all of his high school buddies.
It was clearly shot on a different day, and he's not with the rest of his friends.
And he's wearing sunglasses. We thought he was blind.
Thought he just, had too much soap poisoning.
It was soap poisoning.
Speaking of forgettable, Seth Green's in this movie. Ooh, I'm sorry, that's harsh. But Seth Green's pretty forgettable in this movie, I will say that.
He's very Seth Green in this movie.
Oh boy.
Fucked up, that's what they said I was.
You are fucked up.
Yeah, but Only because I want to be.
Well, this is like before he had done anything else of note, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So-
it's weird. Like, I think of him as being like a contemporary guy, but he's been acting since the 80s. He was like the bratty little brother in Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh, yeah.
Huh, yeah. So he's been acting since he was a tiny little kid, but now he's all teenaged up in Arcade.
Boy, oh boy, is he. He's teenaging the fuck out of this movie.
Hey, I am giving her a chance. Get off my back. Except for the
Come on, we're going to be late to the flannel convention.
90s.
You guys like grunge music?
Did you realize this movie was made in the 90s? Could you tell?
I don't know.
Jenko jeans and flannels
Lots of flannel.
on top of flannels with flannel headbands.
And nobody liked arcades.
Maybe if you weren't such a dick, you'd see how cool this place really is.
Give me a break, man. They got fucking Space Invaders in here. That shit's for retards.
That's true. They weren't really big in the 90s.
No, and that's a thing. Like, I mean, they were big in the 80s, and they're big now, but around about then, nobody
Yeah,
was...
but the person who wrote this wasn't hip to the youth culture.
Right.
What was popular in the 90s, though, was the concept of virtual reality.
For
which
a
is what
brief
this
moment
movie's
in
really
time.
about more so than arcades. That's just the name of the game, and they first play it in an arcade, but it is more about virtual reality than arcade games.
And it's all done in virtual reality. It's so real, you'll actually think that you're in the game.
And I'm sure the effects will definitely live up to all this hype.
Just like real life, huh?
Yes, and much like your Lawnmower Mans or your Reboot Canadian TV series, what we get is comically awful computer graphics, and there's a story behind that. But
we can get to that.
Holy moly!
Well, we haven't finished with the cast yet.
Son of a bitch, you're right.
We got so many more stars.
John freaking Delancey.
That's right.
Hugh is in this.
He's playing a corporate drone who's just trying to sell a goddamn video game to the kids.
You're the market share that we're all tearing each other apart to get at.
He's underutilized.
Oh, he's completely underutilized.
But I think this is another case where they probably made this before Next Gen was big, right? I know this didn't get released until the mid-90s.
Right, it took like 3 years to get out.
Yeah, I want to say it was made in like 91.
Okay.
When did TNG start?
Late 80s, so he would have been a name.
Ooh, pretty scary.
Okay,
Or somewhat known.
But Q didn't show up for a minute, right?
No, he's in episode 1.
Yeah,
is he?
No, he's in the
my
pilot.
bad, my bad.
Q is the instigator of episode.
The real question is, when did my
so we're
so-called
not-
life start?
We're not going to talk about Star Trek.
Oh, that's right.
We can talk about Star Trek.
No, you can go ahead. I don't give a shit because we're going to be over here talking about AJ Langer.
I actually
I don't know why
From
they wouldn't rather
film The
talk
People
about
Under the
it.
Stairs.
People Under the Stairs, My So-Called
Life. Yeah,
Escape from L.A.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of bad CG.
And then
helps
didn't
set
she
up a lot
marry like a
of
prince
later
or
Trek,
something
which
and
is
disappear?
morality tale.
Oh, I have no idea.
Something like that.
You know, they're
She
still
doesn't act
figuring out a lot of
I mean,
it.
she
Oh,
doesn't
look,
act
look,
in
at Counter
Okay.
Farpoint. It's not
I
the
mean, kinda
worst.
like pulling like
it
a-
really
like
isn't.
a,
It's okay.
Grace-
It's
Grace-
okay.
It's the bad CG, a lot like the bad CG in Arcade.
Hey, are you guys talking about Arcade?
Yeah, the movie Arcade.
Oh, I've
that's
seen that
interesting.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the cast of Arcade. Were you guys talking
weird.
about that at all?
Yeah, we were.
John Delancey's in Arcade.
Oh, John Delancey's
John
cast.
Delancey is on Star Trek The Next Generation,
Oh
isn't
my
he?
God, that's right, he is.
Yeah, no, he did a fantastic
I
job.
clean forgot about that. He's one of my favorite characters.
I love his outfit already.
It's just blank spandex.
Yep.
All right.
And like a speed skating helmet.
Just stand there. Just stand there.
Maybe like, you know, a little bit of this.
We'll add in everything later.
Is this supposed
It's level 1.
Okay.
Yeah, but is this like, is he supposed to be doing anything?
That's a good question.
Because he's not.
He's supposed to be skating. He's
No,
skating.
but like in terms of like playing like action motion
Yeah.
that he's doing.
He's dodging.
Ooh, is he?
Yeah, he's dodging the spikes.
Is he? He's not moving.
It's incredibly easy. Just the whole board is going. But his whole body is like going left to right.
He's okay.
There we go. That's what I.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You gotta try this thing.
It's very boring.
You won't believe how bad this is.
Why is it? Why is
Holy
this,
shit, you guys.
Why is the seat so sticky? Well, what did you see in there?
You know what this reminds me of more than Tales from the Dark Side? It feels like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Yes.
What happens in arcade is that there's this video game that is revolutionary and has virtual reality, and so they're trying to get all the kids to come down to the arcade to check out arcade in the arcade, and it's this face that talks to you and tells you have to skate through a obstacle
series
course?
of spikes.
Yeah.
You stand still while your skateboard moves through a series of corridors.
Yes.
And it misses all of the spikes that are way off to the side.
Yes, but you're also moving because you have a speed helmet and some spandex on.
Well, yes, you're moving, but you don't appear to actually be doing anything to move. You just
Precisely.
move.
Yeah.
Yes, clearly you're both moving and not moving at the same time.
And that's just level 1.
That's just level 1.
And that's the only level we see for 90% of the film. I guess you can save a lot on budget when you just keep using the same CG background over and over.
Look at their outfits.
Just spandex.
Look at that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
What do you expect?
It might be the cheapest thing you've ever seen, but it's not stupid.
Well, the weirdest thing is that we're seeing it at all.
Yeah.
This is like an outsider's perspective of her in the video game.
Yes.
Yeah, but they can't film the movie like that. So, you know.
No, well, it's Tron. They're doing Tron. I mean, it's nothing like Tron.
The arcade is alive. It's made from human brain tissues. It's killing people.
It's assuming people into the game somehow.
Yes.
Which I don't necessarily know. There's no mechanic as to how that works.
Correct.
It's just...
Look, it's supernatural. They got a brain in the game.
There's a brain in the game. For some reason, the people that made this game, who are in the movie and are not specifically evil...
If you make your video game out of the brain cells of a dead child, you're evil. Well, okay.
But their intentions aren't evil.
No, yeah, they're evil, or you're just fucking around and you end up evil.
Yeah. Megan Ward and Ralphie, at one point, they go to the company that makes the game to find out what the hell is happening. All of her friends are disappearing. They're playing the game, and then they're vanishing into the game, I guess. So they go to the company, and everyone at the company is just like normal working stiffs.
What do you want?
Do you want a little, yeah? Well.
I got a level with you. Arcade's like 80% cocaine.
Yeah, I mean their headquarters is apparently located in heaven.
It's very blazing.
But aside from that, there's nothing unusual going on. They're just making a game.
And trying to sell that game to arcades and children.
Yeah.
Very normal.
Sure.
But the lead programmer of the game subtly drops that so in any case, I probably shouldn't be telling you children this, because I'm an adult and your children and we're strangers. But we actually programmed the game using human brain cells. Weird, I know.
So I mean, when you're building a video game, you probably don't assume that people will get sucked into the video game.
Yeah.
That's not something you would think about to even test for.
Especially like if you're like, let's say you're in product design and you're designing a pair of 3D goggles, which are essentially like TVs inside of a tube, and you don't specifically implement any technology that could suck a human body through those TVs in a tubes, you are not counting on human bodies to be sucked in through the tubes.
This is why you got to worry about the singularity, goddammit. Once your AI hits that point where it's smarter than you are, it can go out of control. You can't predict what it's going to do, Jack.
And it's sucking bodies.
Sucking body? We never predicted that. Oh my God, it's singularity.
Alex.
Oh, no.
All right, forget Are You Afraid of the Dark? This is more like the Freddy's Nightmares TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know in this entire movie what are the mechanics of how it pulls souls into the game.
But not just souls, like bones and muscles and fats and flesh. Apparently. Like everything goes into the game.
Yeah.
And we don't know how. It's not like Tron.
No, nothing about this
movie is like Tron.
Nothing.
Ooh, pretty scary.
Anyway, they go into the game in order to beat the game because they got all the secret inside information from the programmer.
Right, they have this legends to follow, and they know where the doors are and where to get the keys. Although apparently the keys are held by friends of theirs that have been pulled into the game.
Alex, I'm sinking. I'm on my way. Alex, help.
and or their suicide committing mother.
Oh, we've completely glossed over that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about the weird, somber tone of the movie. It's interesting because it's like it's a full moon movie. All their movies have like kind of corny premises.
But this one kicks off a little different.
Yeah, it starts with Megan Ward. Her mom's committed suicide.
Like she wakes up and wanders into the living room, and there's her mom, like
on display,
with the gun hanging out here, and then it's right. That's what's happening, and then cuts to her at the psychiatrist.
Yeah,
and she's like,
and again,
"I failed."
Talking about Albert Pyun's lighting, there's that giant shaft of light coming in from the window.
Yeah, there is.
And the slow push in as the psychiatrist is like, "It's probably time to get over it, babe."
but Megan Ward is like, no, it's my fault. I let her down. I'm a terrible person.
But yeah, that and even all the stuff with the kids, it's very like kind of melancholy.
Yeah.
It's interesting for a movie like this that gets so ridiculous looking visually with the bad CG.
Well, written by David Esquire, right?
David Esquire.
David Esquire.
Yeah. He did this, and he did Demonic Toys for Full Moon, and then he went off to Hollywood and made all sorts of big movies. Blade.
I'm very glad that you did not include Full Moon with Hollywood.
Well,
that's it's its own little world.
Technically, it is. They were based in Hollywood.
They were, but well.
But no, David Esquire went on to have a big career, and that's the thing is like Demonic Toys and this movie both have like you can follow them.
Yes.
It's not just like what is happening like a lot of movies we watch.
No, there's no confusion in this. The plot is very linear.
Character motivations make sense.
Yeah.
Character backstories make sense.
Yeah.
It's all pretty. The only thing that doesn't make sense is how the people get sucked into the game. But
it's somewhere in between science gone wrong and ghost haunting.
Yeah.
It's found it's a weird gray area between the two.
Really, yeah. Like as soon as they start talking about like the souls and hearts of the video games and players, it's like, okay, yeah, mystic shit, great.
Which is unusual for a movie like Arcade.
Which is unusual for a movie in which they get sucked into the video game and are just wearing speed skater outfits.
Just black spandex.
And ridiculously long helmets that genuinely look stupid and embarrassing. Like there's no other way to...
This is really the kind of movie where you got to ask yourself, like, how much direction is possible when you have to just put your actors in front of a screen where you can't see anything and just be like, there's a giant skull thing coming at you.
They're gonna animate something.
Then let's go.
Whoa! So let me ask them. We agree that the speed skate suits are stupid.
Super stupid.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just have them go into the arcade wearing what they had on?
Sure.
Why? There was probably a reason, right?
Because that's harder to key out.
Is that it?
That could be it, yeah. The more busy the outfits are, the harder it would be to key out. And that could be.
Especially if they're all black outfits, then you could even just do like a Luma mat, which would be very, very easy to do.
And you can see a difference when Megan Ward takes her helmet off, she's got her hair down, you can definitely see around the hair, there's the halo of the blue screen.
Damn it, where are you?
Wait, you can take off the helmet?
They just had them on because they thought they looked cool.
Because I'm wondering, because of something we haven't gotten into yet, if there wasn't some kind of plan they had before that did involve some kind of digital trickery with their outfits.
Like maybe they were gonna, because we see the keys, which are bright green, and my assumption was, maybe they were planning on keying out the key.
Have that be
with something weird to make it glowing or something, and they
We
just
weren't
didn't do it.
100% sure. I mean, it could have been a kind of thing where it's a video game, they just wanted like a bright cartoony color for the key.
Yeah.
But we have behind the scenes footage of Peter Billingsley talking about his skateboard.
What they've done is they've painted the trucks and the wheels blue, which matches the blue color of the blue screen. So therefore it's going to leave the board looking like a hoverboard with these omitted.
Yes.
Which had bright blue wheels so they could key them out.
Which they never ended up doing.
So it's reasonable to assume they were going to try and do something similar with those keys.
Like perhaps if they had some sort of like lines on their spandex outfits that they could make glow or augment with some sort of like bright computery.
Like a neon color, like a circuit pattern?
Like a circuit pattern, because they're inside of a computer
game.
So
kind of like how Tron...
No, it's not like Tron.
It's nothing like Tron.
It's not at all
nothing like Tron.
It's definitely not like Tron.
Should we talk about the lawsuit?
Let's go ahead.
I guess it's not a lawsuit, but
it was a
threat of lawsuit. So the movie was made in 1991. They released a trailer, and I remember seeing that trailer because I rented a lot of Full Moon movies at that time.
I'm sure you did.
And I loved Full Moon. Actually, a lot of times I would, because Full Moon had what they call the video zone. After the movie, they would have behind-the-scenes stuff.
It's advertised right here.
They advertise it right on the front.
Right there.
They were doing like DVD bonus features before DVDs existed. But I would sometimes rent these movies, and some of them would be so boring, I would just fast forward to the behind-the-scenes thing after the movie. So I saw the trailer for this movie, and then it just never came out. And then like 2-3 years went by, and it finally got released. And I was like, oh, that movie, Arcade, it finally came out. Turns out what happened was, in the trailer, you see a lot of the CG effects, including CG motorcycles on grids. And Disney saw this and said, hey, you're not doing that.
Hey, you have characters getting sucked into a video game and then riding light motorcycles on a grid.
Oh, here we go. Here's the light cycles.
Oh, man.
I mean, not light cycles.
The legally distinct
pod racer. No.
Flying vehicles that leave illuminescent trails.
But they don't leave trails.
Not anymore.
So I'm going with pod racers. Oh, yeah, that's definitely something that wouldn't happen in Tron.
Look, that's not fair. It's just a motorcycle on a grid. That doesn't mean it's a light cycle. You can clearly hear the fucking special effects guy. I mean, what does he call it? He calls it...
Right here on the screen, what we have is a model of light cycles.
Oh.
So Disney threatened to sue them if they didn't change it, so they had to redo all the CG. And I'm wondering, like, the things like the skateboard, where they're like, oh, we got to redo all this. We're not going to bother cutting out the wheels.
We're going to save as much money as we can, because we've already spent so much on this as it is, and we have to redo all this shit. And the thing is, it's for better and worse. When we went through and watched the video zone, we could see the original animation of some of the stuff. Like the Screamer was bad. They improved the Screamer quite a bit.
That's the weirdest thing is, they redid all the effects, but the video zone behind the scenes thing after the movie is all the original effects.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre.
Here. Deposit your money and the game begins.
Well, these are the original effects. Wasn't that?
That was not in the movie.
That was a different shot.
Yeah.
Virtual reality framework for
yeah, they're showing different effects.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Give me a try.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about the game is
Master Control.
I like your theory, which is that Disney's not gonna watch through the whole movie just to get to the video
Yeah,
zone.
to get to the video zone, you got to watch through the movie and all the end credits. No one's getting that far.
No.
Shit happens differently that we can see in the behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah.
Like there's this one bit in one of the levels. They do the classic riddle. I only tell the truth.
Oh, right.
I only tell lies. And in the movie the watch as it ended up. She just answers the riddle, and the movie goes on.
You guys, this is the worst Nickelodeon game show I've ever seen.
This is
not good.
We've reached a level of embarrassing.
But you can clearly see in the behind-the-scenes footage, there was more to that, where there's a fucking fight that happened.
But you're the truth teller. I lied.
There was a digital knife fight in which the knife tip was painted green, so you know they were going to try to do something digital with it, which is probably why they bailed it, because like that's another fucking effect shot.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
But the interesting thing that I discovered recently in reading up on, because I was curious about the recent news with Albert Pyun, and so I was just searching around, and I found that the original version of the movie did come out kind of, in that they sent out like screeners before the official release came out.
Oh.
So I guess that was before the lawsuit was threatened.
Yeah.
And somebody uploaded it to like archive.org, so you can see the full movie with all the original effects in it.
You forgot my free life.
You forgot my free life.
So the entire climax of the movie is all the awkward, weird CG, but it's at a direct contrast with all the normal live action stuff. Like I was saying, all the kind of creepier. Yeah. There's a shot with AJ Langer with like a wide angle lens right in her face, and she's like hooked on the game.
It's this whole thing, yeah. And it's,
all that stylistic stuff is so contrasted with the video game stuff, and then in the climax of the video game, she wakes up, it's like, oh, it was all a dream, but we know it's not. It's still part of the video game. She goes out in the living room and watches her mom blow her fucking brains out.
Watch.
Oh! Oh!
That's fucked up.
Oh, jeez.
Don't worry, it's not so bad being Dad. You'll see. Alex, there is a heaven, and I'm gonna take you there.
God! Holy shit!
Down.
Our game's over, Alex. And you failed. Last time.
Players so lost.
Insert quarters. That's when we kind of laughed because it was just so weird.
It's just like, whoa, whoa.
It's one of those things where you laugh because you can't believe they're actually doing that.
Yeah, it's very dark and morbid for a movie like this.
Yes.
Especially after we've just seen them skateboarding down CG hallways and it looks like a Nickelodeon video game.
Like she
or Nickelodeon game show.
She jumped into a pool of gack at one point.
Legends of the Lost Temple suddenly turns into her mother blowing her brains out.
That's that little extra you get by hiring David S. Goyer. A little extra.
What if the mom blew her fucking brains out right in front of this bitch?
We want you to write a children's movie about kids who go into a video game and have an adventure.
Okay, the video game is made out of a brain, but does someone beat the shit out of that kid? Fuck that kid. What a dickhead.
You know what? And that kid comes back at the very end to take revenge.
Right here.
Bitch.
I told you this.
Hold up.
The Nightmare on Elm Street ending.
But
she's still in the game.
The whole movie kind of has a bit of a Nightmare on Elm Street vibe. Like the kids hanging out outside the high school, and then obviously like getting sucked into the video game is like getting sucked into a dream. It is a bit of a Nightmare on Elm Street thing.
Yeah, it's like Nightmare on Elm Street by way of Nickelodeon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Goosebumps.
Cheap Nickelodeon.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Freddy's
Are You Afraid of the
Nightmares?
Dark is what visually it reminded me of.
Yeah.
The most. Yeah.
Nobody's mother blew their brains out on Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That's true.
But they might have on Goosebumps. That's iffy. That's iffy. Whoa.
Oh no! It sucks.
Release all players. Now everyone's going to be back.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Come on, bring it home.
Pyun. Let's talk about Pyun.
Yeah.
A career as a filmmaker. Like, quality aside, has spent his life making movies and hopefully having a lot of fun doing it. The man clearly didn't have the budget to make good movies. He didn't have a budget to finish his haircut, as far as we saw in most of the behind-the-scenes. That was a mullet joke, you know what? I do not regret it. You had a mullet.
It was a style at the time.
Took me a while, but I appreciate it. So like that's all we can talk about. Like made competent movies, not the greatest movies, but was able to rise above a sea of garbage.
He made those movies that you were very fond of growing up. You're flipping through the channels. You got home from school, and you go past USA, and they're playing Cyborg. Like, oh, I'll watch Cyborg.
Oh yeah.
And then you flip over to Showtime and they're playing Doll Man. And you have no idea that the same guy made both those movies.
How would you know?
And then you flip over to Comedy Central, and Mystery Science Theater is watching Alien from LA. All the same guy. So thanks, Albert Pyun. Go watch Nemesis. We didn't do Nemesis, but that's a good one.
No, we'll get there.
Shot in the same rubble field as Doll Man and Arcade, I think.
Yeah. Go watch Alien from LA. That's a weird fucking movie. We sat there and had a whole fucking discussion about what movies we're going to watch today, and it wasn't even going to be Arcade at first.
Which is a sign of variety. Lots of different shit on the table right now.
There's a lot as long as you could spend some time shooting it in a rubble pile.
Whatever genre you want, I got rubble for you.
Then you're good.
You got Pyun.